Hello. How are you guys doing? This is the long-awaited things you don't want to know, but I'll tell you anyways video segment. I know this was supposed to be yesterday, but it was a crazy day yesterday and just didn't get around to making this video. But I'm here today and we are ready to do the things you don't want to know, but I'll tell you anyways segment. Let me take a sip of my tea here. If you guys don't know and you are new here, the things you don't want to know, but I'll tell you anyway segment is basically a segment where I take questions or comments that I've received throughout the week and I just answer them here. Hold on, I'm like trying to get comfortable. Matt and I just got back. We just put a deposit on our car. So if you guys don't know, Matt and I are in the process of getting a car and we just put a deposit on one of them. So we're really excited. There's a few things like paperwork and stuff that I still have to get done, but we'll probably be able to pick up the car on Friday. There's like a checklist in my head of things that I am working towards right now. Getting a car, getting our own apartment, and getting my dog here. And like, I'm knocking off one of them off my list. And it's just like, I think about it, I'm like, I'm so excited. All right, so let's go ahead and kick off this things you don't want to know, but I'm going to tell you anyways episode. I have 5 questions that I'm going to be answering today. And the first question is from Sean from Detroit Disney Duo. He asked, what program are you editing in? I actually get this question quite a bit. Like in terms of editing videos and filming videos, I get this question a lot. What camera do I use? I use my iPhone 11. Where do I get my music? I know Joe asked that before. I get my music from Epidemic Sound. John was actually asking the other day too. There was like music at the end of one of my videos and he was wondering where I got it. I get all my music off of Epidemic Sound, and what that is, it's a subscription service where you can sign up for it and get licensed to use the music on their website for your videos. Yeah, I think there's like a referral code. So if you guys are interested, I'll leave that referral link and everything down below. I think you'll probably get like a first month trial discount or something. I don't really remember, but if you guys are interested, I'll leave the referral code down below. But it's an awesome service. I love a lot of the music that they have. There's like a free service, like Google has their own free audio service, but it's not very good. To be honest, but I mean, but I guess you get what you pay for. But Epidemic's really good. So, and the editing program I use is Final Cut Pro. Now, I've been in the media space for a long time. As most of you guys know, like 5 or 6 years, I owned a media company. And so I've tried a lot of different programs. I started off with Sony Vegas, and then we switched over to Premiere, which is the Windows program, and they have it on Apple too. I didn't like it. There's a lot of bells and whistles and a lot of things that you can do more so than Final Cut, but it's just not optimized very well. It's not very efficient and it keeps crashing. Like no matter how powerful my computer is, it just crashes. I just don't like Premiere. I like Final Cut. I know some people prefer Premiere. That always seems to be the thing. It's like either you use Premiere or Final Cut. I know there's another program that Matt uses called DaVinci Resolve, and he really likes that. But I happen to just use Final Cut because I've been using it for a long time, and I have Apple products, so it's just easier for me to just use Final Cut. And it's not because I'm an Apple fan. I actually like Apple and both Apple and Windows, because Windows is great for gaming, and I'm a gamer. But as far as like editing software for film and photos, Apple just they have the better, like more like streamlined programs. So I like both operating systems for 2 different reasons. Joe! Oh my god, I missed Joe. See, I'm glad I got to see him before he left, but I only got to see him once. So Joe just recently moved to Seattle. He was here in Okinawa for a long time, but we actually got to see him like the day before him and his family left. Joe, we miss you. We miss your presence on the island. But he's asking, what's the story about the Pink Panther sign? This thing right here. It's not a sign. It's actually a penny board. I picked up this penny board for Manga Soko, which is my favorite manga warehouse, as you guys know. I love that place. But I got this for like 1,500 yen, which is roughly about 15 bucks, because I wanted to start skateboarding again. So I picked up this cheap penny board, happened to be Pink Panther, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. But I ended up really liking it as like a decoration piece, so I ended up just throwing it on the shelf. Now I'm actually in the market for another penny board or like a long board. because I don't want to use this one. He's asking if I watched any of the cartoons. I didn't really watch the Pink Panther cartoons, but I did used to watch the Pink Panther movie with Peter Sellers, like the original Pink Panther Peter Sellers movie, and I love that movie. That movie is hilarious. Peter Sellers was a comedic genius. I'm not like a huge fan of Pink Panther, I just really like it. But it's not a sign, it's just a penny board. Cat! The colors are so vibrant, unlike in the US. What holiday is on Monday there, and what is it in celebration or commemoration? So the colors that she's referring to is from the video We Found Our Car. In the video, I just like panned across some like different car colors and stuff. So Japan has very unique colored cars. Matt watched an episode of CNN, I think, explaining why colors are so bland, typically. Like, you know, they got their black, white, silver, and it's because neutral colors sell more. But in Japan, people really like the cutesy like pop look, you know, like it like pops. And so I think that's why people like the more vibrant colored cars here, which is really, really fun. Like even our car is like super bright, not super bright, but like a deep shade of nice green, and it pops, and that's one of the reasons Matt was attracted to it. But yeah, definitely unique colors. I love it too. Because I don't really, I mean, black is cool, but Matt absolutely hates silver. Like that's, if it's a silver car, he won't even buy it. He might think about the white, but he doesn't like the white either. But he likes the more unique colored cars. So, and then there was like the holiday Monday question. So Monday was Senior's Day, which is a public holiday here. Monday was Senior's Day, and today is Tuesday. And Tuesday is the fall equinox, so that's also a public holiday. So Japan's actually had a 4-day weekend: Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So it's been a long weekend of just everything being shut down, which is kind of inconvenient for us because one of the things that I need in order to buy the car is like a proof of residency paperwork. And I need to go get it at the city office, but the city office is closed because it's a public holiday. So for me, it's been kind of inconvenient, but hey, Japanese people work hard and they need their days off, so totally understand. But yeah, yesterday was Senior's Day, today is the fall equinox. It's been kind of interesting coming back to Japan because I forgot how many holidays Japan has. If I was going to a Japanese school or working in a Japanese place, like, I'd love it. It's great. So many holidays. Next question was from Mike Bennett. Did you have to get a Japanese driver's license? If so, how hard was the driver's test? So I have a Japanese driver's license, but I got it when I was 18. I'm 31 now, so that was a while ago. I'll let you do the math. But yeah, I did get my Japanese driver's license when I was 18 years old, and I did have to go through a schooling before I was even allowed to take the test. I may be giving the wrong information because it's, like I said, it's been a few years and my memory on it is a little hazy of like exactly how many hours and stuff that I had to do. Total, it cost about close to $2,000 to get my license. But in that $2,000, like that's what you're paying for is the cost of the classes that you have to take to get your permit and stuff, and then it's also cost of getting your license. So the first step in Japan is you go to the driver's school and you sit through, I think like, I don't remember exactly, but we'll just throw out a number and say like 15-20 hours worth of class time. So you need to do like 15-20 hours worth of class time that you have to attend. And they hold classes throughout the day at specific times, and you just pick which class that you can go to, and then like you go to those classes, and then you just have to, you know, do your time basically for classwork. And then you have to have like certain amount of drive time, probably about the same 15-20 hours. This is where you drive around the designated lot where they have it all set up like a driving course, and you spend hours just driving around in those lots. You have to meet those requirements, and then you get your permit. So once you do those requirements, you get your permit, and then that's stage 2, which stage 2 is you have more class work that you have to do, but it's more advanced class work. And then as far as your driving practice goes, you actually go out on the street instead of just staying in the confined course area. And then after you complete that and you get like all the recommended time that you're supposed to drive and you're supposed to do the coursework, then you can take the driving test, where they take you out on the street and they have you like drive around and do the driver's test. And then once you pass that, you have to go to Naha, where is the driving headquarters, the city. And then you take the written exam, and that's your final exam. Once you pass all of that, you get your driver's license. I think it took me about I would probably say about 3 months and $2,000 to get my Japanese driver's license. Yeah, it's a whole extensive thing. If you have had a driver's license in the past, like let's say like Matt, for instance, he's driven in the States, so he has a driver's license internationally, and he becomes a resident here, he can actually go straight to the headquarters without doing any of the schooling, and then just take the test, like the driver's test, going and just try to get his license. He could pay like, I think it's like $80 every time he wants to try, but they are super, super, super strict. They'll fail you for anything. Like if you were like an inch off, like they'll bring out rulers. Like if you were parallel parking on the curb area, and if you're like an inch off, they will mark that down. Like it's insane. They are very strict. So sometimes it might be cheaper and faster to get your driver's license by just going to the driver's school. My dad ended up having to take it like 10 times because he refused to go to the driving school, so he just went straight to the headquarters, and they failed him 10 times, so he had to keep going back to Naha, paying $80 every time to try to get his driver's license. Like it's extensive. That is my driver's license story. In fact, I have some really interesting, like, if you guys want to hear it, let me know. It's like story time. It'll be a story time video, but memories of getting my driver's license, because I had some colorful teachers. My friend and I took the driving classes and courses at the same time, my good friend Nina and I. And we had nicknames for all the teachers because they were all very weird. Yeah, so if you guys want to hear that story time, let me know in the comments below. So the last question is from I Love Slapstick. You know, I love the questions that you put, Jeremy, because I know like you've never been to Japan. You didn't really even know about anything about Okinawa or Japan until you started watching my videos. I guess like I came up on his recommended feed. I don't know if there's anyone else like that. I know Jeremy's never been here, so it's like really fascinating to him, and he always asks these questions and it's so cool. Comment was, Hacksaw Ridge is definitely a beautiful view now in stark contrast to World War II. I'm curious as to your thoughts, being half Okinawan and half American, since Japan and US were on opposite sides then, but Japan is one of our strongest allies today. Are there still ruins from the war visible there? Is there still any resentment towards America for dropping the bombs? How are American tourists treated in Okinawa? I assume relations must be pretty good since there's a large military base there. So we're gonna break that down. Are there still ruins from the war visible there? There's definitely like dedicated memorial spots of like significant battle, you know, places that the battle took place, or like there's places like the Suicide Caves, Suicide Cliffs. Okinawans were told to commit suicide by the Japanese forces because it would be far better to kill themselves than be captured by Americans. That was just lies told by the Japanese forces to Okinawans. So there's a lot of tensions there from those periods, which is, let's just say Japan messed up big time during the war. And it's created a lot of tension between Okinawans and Japanese because Japan, the government, kind of refuses to acknowledge what they did during the war. They kind of like gloss over it in their like the school textbooks. Yeah, I think, you know, as far as ruins, there are some. There's definitely a lot that you can go look at, and I think like every once in a while you'll hear people were like on the beach or something and found like not a landmine, but like little relics and stuff from the war. It's not very often, but there are still some of those still around the island. For the most part, I think everything has kind of recovered and it's been built over. But if you look and if you explore, you'll definitely run into some things from that period of time. Is there still any resentment towards America for dropping the bombs? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know in terms of as far as like how Japanese people feel Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I mean, they talk about it every like anniversary and stuff. There's always documentaries about it. But at the same time, like Japan did Pearl Harbor. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure people who were involved at the time who are still around, and those families that came right afterwards probably have something to say about it. I know people who were affected by the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs who did survive have had lifelong like ailments and illnesses and diseases because of the radiation and all of that stuff that affected them when the bombs were dropped. I think resentment dies down the newer the generation, but I think the people who were affected by it the most, the people who were there and the people who came afterwards, you know, like my mom's era, they definitely, I think, still hold on to some degree of I don't know, resentment. Resentment might be a really heavy word. I don't know. I think that's like a very subjective thing. I think it depends on the person whether they still hold resentment or not. But as a whole, I don't really think so, and it becomes less and less throughout the years, especially as the generations get farther and farther away from the memories of the war. How are American tourists treated? I assume relations must be pretty good. American tourists are treated fine on Okinawa. I think Okinawa more so because we're so used to seeing Americans because of the military bases. It kind of sucks for tourists sometimes though, because like if you're an American, it's automatically assumed that you're part of the military, which is kind of frustrating for a lot of like foreigners. Like Matt, for instance, a lot of people think he's a part of the military when he has nothing to do with the military. So I think it's kind of frustrating. So like when you know, the military does something that affects the island and the people in a negative way, it kind of falls on anybody who's kind of in that foreign status, because they're like, oh, you know, you're foreign, you must be a part of the military. So that kind of sucks. But I think for the most part, Americans are treated fine. Like I said, especially Okinawa, because Okinawans are used to Americans. I think like if you go to rural Japan and mainland Japan, there have been moments where like, especially if you're a person of color and you go into like rural Japan and like outside of Tokyo and like the city proper, if you're riding on the train, you'll most likely get stared at because you're not used to seeing foreigners in that part of town. But I feel like that would happen anywhere in the world where there's not a lot of foreigner presence and they're not used to seeing them. Like it's just one of those things that's like curiosity. But Japanese people tend to be polite no matter what. You know what I mean? Like in the back of their mind, even if they have some kind of resentment or feeling of ill will, for the most part, Japanese people do their best to like at least not show it. So I think it's fine. Yeah, I don't think American tourists I think they're treated just fine. I mean, any American tourists that I've had come over, like my friends and stuff come here, they love it. Like they fall in love with Okinawa like that. So yeah, I think everyone gets treated fine. As military and foreign presence here is just a way of life, especially being in Okinawa. So you don't really, I don't think, notice a difference as much. I mean, that you can definitely tell they'll treat you like a foreigner. Like they'll definitely treat you like a foreigner, but it's not like they're going out of their way to be rude or they're trying to put you in a bad spot. Like they don't really do that. They still treat you with respect. At least like 99% of the places do. Okay, so that is the last question. That was kind of a long-winded answer. I hope that answers your question. But thank you guys so much for tuning into today's things you don't want to know, but I'll tell you anyways. I'm starting to get the name. It's starting to come out. As always, I want to go ahead and take this moment to thank all my Patreon subscribers. I do this once a week because I can't talk about it without wanting to cry, because that's crazy that they that people support. Like I never thought that would actually happen, but it's really cool that somebody supports me in that way. And so I want to like have a spot at least once a week where I thank all my Patreon subscribers. Whether you're a Patreon subscriber or just a subscriber of my channel, like I couldn't do this without all of you guys. You know, you guys are part of my community, and each week, each video, like I'm just so blown away at how fortunate and grateful I am for you guys in my life. So thank you guys so much. Okay, I'm gonna go. I have to edit this video and then get ready for work. So I love you guys. I will see you in tomorrow's episode tomorrow's video as always. Peace. Bye.